people price, what you should say to them is this: hey, listen, we're going to aim for this number, but what I'd love to do is next week, we're going to have 4 or 5 buyers that we're going to bring through between the time we list it to the time we launch it. The list to launch period now is critical in real estate. So you list it here and you launch it here, but in between, you've got to bring 3 or 4 or 5 buyers through. Because this gives you ammunition to have another go at taking the price down before you launch. So this is what you do. I'll do it with Rick. Ricky's the vendor. I've listed it with Ricky. I've taken 3 buyers through. Now, just before it's about to launch on TradeMe, I go back, hey Ricky, how you going? So Ricky, I've taken 3 or 4 high probability buyers over. And I've got to let you know, I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit concerned because they didn't get excited. And that worries me, because if we don't get people excited, they won't be at the auction. I want to let you know there are 2 prices in real estate. There's the vendor price and there's the buyer excite price. I think we need to actually go down a layer to get them excited, because people buy from the heart, but they filter with their brain. What I need to do is to actually get them excited with their heart, because once we get them in the home, we can then create competition. Once we get them in the home, they can see the invisible value. So if it's okay with you, and I'm only recommending to you what I will do myself, I suggest that we realign the value by 10%. So you have a go before you even launch. If that's too hard for you, you've got to realign the price after week 1. I'm telling you. One of the problems we have in this market is people are not realigning the price fast enough. They're changing the price 3rd or 4th week in the campaign. Man, it's nearly over by then. You've got to address things quickly. The second thing. So the first thing is flexible pricing. The second thing is adjusting the price very soon. The third thing is, trust me team, list what sells. List what sells. So every market has got a kind of property that sells. Example, right now, what's selling? If it's a beautiful home that's been beautifully renovated with not a single cent to be spent, people are attracted to those more than the fixer-uppers. Because the fixer-uppers mean, oh, inflation, building materials, what's that?
Raise.
Yes.
Raise, yeah.
So I've got to say to you, they want the footing. So what you do is you try and list more of those. Also, vendors. List what sells. Who sells? Motivated vendors. I never care about what a price people want. I care about why they're selling. If they want 2 million, it's only worth 1.7, but they're getting divorced, it's a good listing. If they want 2 million and they're in financial problems and it's only worth 1.7, it's still a good listing. If they bought a home elsewhere and they want 2 million, but it's only worth 1.7, it's still a good listing. The reason why they're selling is more important than the price that they want. Does that make sense? So don't ever worry too much about the price. Worry about the reason why they're selling. So all of a sudden what we're saying is not every listing is a good listing in this marketplace. And there are times, have you got one of these vendors? Tell me if you've got one of these vendors. They're overpriced. They're unmotivated. Unrealistic. In addition to that, they haven't really even spent a lot of money on marketing. To top it all off, they might have even got you to take your fee down. And then in addition to that, every time you give them feedback, they don't listen. And then there's one last thing. They're just people that you don't like. Hands up if you've got one of those on your books at the moment.
Pretty much everyone will have.
Let me tell you what you do with these people. You sack them. You sack them politely. So this is how you sack people politely. Hey Ricky, I want to let you know that over the last 3-4 weeks, we've been giving you feedback on price. We've been giving you feedback on what people like and don't like. It appears that that feedback is something that you're not accepting. I have to let you know, I work in partnership with my vendors, giving them feedback to help them sell their home for the best price in the current market. The recommendations I've been giving you have not been taken up. I'm going to try for another week. After that, if we haven't had any luck, I'm going to suggest that maybe I'm not the agent for you this time, and maybe list with someone else, but I want to keep the door open. And if you don't do any well, I'll be more than happy to work with you again. The reason I say this, team, is in real estate, we get paid when we sell. Having a listing means nothing. You're not an antique store collecting stuff. The second thing I'll say to you about vendors, it's really draining. At the moment, the biggest problem I'm dealing with coaching is that an agent might have 8 listings. 8 of those vendors are frustrated and stressed. They're not getting their price. So what happens is you take their stress. So you multiply that by 8. You know, it's a bumpy pig. Hands up if you can relate to that. I'm going to suggest that you all learn to have this invisible bubble around you, and that you don't get negativity come in and let you in. Right? I'm going to suggest that what you need to do is understand right now, you've got to work harder on yourself than the job, because you're the product. And what does that mean? Make sure that you've got good vendors you're representing. They empower you, they energize you. When you've got shit stock with difficult vendors, every time the phone rings and you see their number, you just go, oh, shit, them again. Right? You know what I'm talking about. Just list the people that you prefer. I've got to tell you, it's just depressing on a Sunday night to wake up and have 10 vendors that you don't like, and that's your work for the week. Number 4, the 4th biggest mistake real estate agents are doing at the moment is that they're not extracting enough feedback and offers from the market to give to the vendors. It's a big mistake. You've heard me say it before, low offers, they blame the market, no offers, they blame the agent. We've got to be getting feedback.
But one question, the problem which I'm facing for last...
Say it louder so everyone can hear.
The problem which I'm facing for last 5-6 months is like no buyers. How to generate buyers?
Okay.
No social media, paid people, whatever you can do, I've done that. Still no one comes.
Okay.
So he's mentioning about the open homes, very quiet.
Are you talking about open homes? Well, if you're going to open homes and you're not doing buyer management during the week, just take a novel with you and read the novel. There's no one coming to open. Don't get me wrong. When I say no one, if it's first week of a campaign of a nice property, you do get numbers. But we're talking about, generally speaking, numbers have dropped, right? Here's a couple of tips I'll give you about buyers. The first thing is, you've got to go back to ringing buyers up, doing buyer management. And what I mean by that, on a Monday and a Friday, you've got to dig deep from all your email inquiry from TradeMe and realestate.co, and what's the other website you're using here now? TradeMe Real Estate. One Roof.
Yeah.
The second thing is, what you've got to understand is this. Whenever a property doesn't have a buyer, trust me, when you adjust the price, a magical buyer does appear. There's a correlation between price and buyers, right? You try that, right? You try that. You adjust the price of a property and you'll see, as long as the adjustment is, mate, if they want 1 million and the property's only worth 750 and you adjust the price to 950, that's nothing special there. Right? That's not really an adjustment, right? We're not talking about getting a haircut trim. We're talking about changing the whole hairstyle here, right? We're talking about, right, we're not just talking to them. And the other thing that you can say is, to a vendor, say, hey, listen, we're getting very little inquiry. I've got to say to you, listen to the words I'm going to use. Your property is not in the market. Your property is sitting on top of the market. Your property is being ignored. Best case scenario, you know what other agents are doing? They're using your property to sell other homes. They're making your home a home that looks overpriced and they're selling their homes. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I want to go through some data from Property Suite and CoreLogic and RP Data. I want to let you know that last month, 47 homes sold in our area. Use data. 47 homes sold in our area. I want to ask you, do you want to be one of the 47 next month that sells, or do you want to be the ones that stay? Right? So, I don't agree with the premise that there's no buyers. There is buyers out there. There's buyers. There's no buyers out there that are looking at things that aren't good value. That's where there's no buyers at. Whereas last year, there was buyers on all the stock, right? And I think you should be asking anyone you can, even a wasty buyer, I think you should ask them. I think you should say to a buyer, hey, listen, I know that you probably don't want to buy this house at this price, but I want to ask you, at what price does this home become incredible value? At what price does this become like a great buy? And shut up. And then what you do is you take that number, and you go see your owner, and this is what you say to them. I want to let you know, I've got a buyer. They've offered 700. 700! Yeah, 700. They're wasting their time. I've already told them that. I've told them, I've rejected your offer for you. So you can take their side. But the point is, they get the message. Okay? By the way, can I say to you, my clients are telling me the last 3-4 weeks have been the best they've been all year. There's been more energy in the last 3 weeks than what there's been. I'm not saying it's good, but there's just a few more people. Hands up if you agree with that.
Yes.
It's been better.
2 weeks, last 2 weeks.
Yeah. The fifth thing. So just picture a real estate office that does $51 million in fees. One office. The office is a little bit bigger than this. 51. They use 6 questions. They're obsessed with these 6 questions. Buyer management. It's the next biggest mistake people aren't doing. They're not working buyers enough. They're not prospecting and chasing buyers. I'm going to give you 6 questions. 6 questions that everyone at Koloshi asks. Let's go through them. Question number 1. Question number 1. How long have you been looking? Good question. If someone has just started, they're not going to buy a house that day. If someone's been looking for 2 years, they're not going to buy a house that day. Right? So, we don't want the chronic looker. We want the buyer that's hot and hurried. Question number 2. Have you made any offers on anything so far? Why is that a good question? Keenness. It's qualified. 3rd question. Have you been at an auction yet? If they say yes, what does that say to you? Ready to go. Hot to trot. 4th question. Out of curiosity, what's the best home you've seen so far? Why is that a good question? You know what they like. Some buyers can't explain to you what they want. Don't worry about it. Just ask them, what's the best home you've seen? You can work it out yourself. You're smart enough to work out. If they like that kind of property, you can work out that's what they want. So you've just asked them this question, what's the best home you've seen? Then you followed up with this question. If you like that home so much, why didn't you buy it? What happened? What happened there? Mate, that's useful to know. It's useful to know what's the block. Here are some of the things they might say. Oh, they didn't accept our offer. That's good. Or they might say, we're not in a position yet. We weren't ready. Say, oh, how come? Oh, we haven't sold our home. Oh, great. And have you sold it now? Oh no, it's still not on the market yet. It's useful to know this stuff, isn't it? Before you actually put him in the car and drive around for 6 days, it's useful to know this stuff. Right? I just don't know why people don't dig deeper with questions. The next one is, if we found you a home that you absolutely loved, is there any reason why you couldn't move ahead straight away? They're your 6 questions. But you know what average amateur agents do? They get a phone call. Happened this week at a training session. I can't believe it. We're in a training session. Listen to this. We're in a training session, right? Young guy. Only been in real estate for about 6 months a year. He goes, excuse me, Tom, I have to go. I've got an appointment. I said, all good. Good to see you. I continue training. Listen to this. He walks out, comes back in. Sorry to do this. David, you need to move your car. You're blocking me. David gets up, moves his car, comes back. We continue. 30 minutes later, the agent walks back in, sits down. I said, oh, you're back? He goes, yeah. He goes, that was a waste of time. I thought, this is going to be interesting. I said, hold that there. I want to ask you, was it a listing appointment or was it a buyer appointment? He goes, buyer appointment. So straight away I got the shits. Because I know that real estate agents should be able to control what time a buyer sees a property. Right? You're either going to control your diary or the world's going to control it. I said, okay. So you had a buyer appointment. Okay. You met the buyer at the property? He goes, yeah. And I go, why are they wasting? He goes, oh mate, they've been looking around for 3 years. I said, okay. I go, was your vendor there? He goes, nah. He goes, but I gave them, an hour's notice and they cleaned up the whole place, everything. I said, okay. I said, I'm curious now. When did you make the appointment? He goes, this morning. I said, explain what happened. He said, someone rang me and they said, we want to see, number 56 Forbes Street. And I made the time. I said, we're dropping the rest of the training course and we're going to sit down and we're going to do a dissection on your behaviour. Number 1, you made your vendor clean the home, you disrupted a training session, you got this guy to move his car out to go out and see someone that wasn't going to buy a home. Let's go through it. What do you think you did wrong? And we did an analysis. First thing he agreed he did wrong was that he didn't make a time when it was going to suit him. He said, the client said, oh, I'll be there at that time. Can I see you there? So I said, so the client took control of you. I said, number 2, did you ask him how long they'd been looking? He goes, no. I said, did you ask them what they were looking for? He said, they told me they wanted to see that property. I said, did you ask them anything? He says, I just got their mobile number. Team, I'm going to say to you, dig deep with every one of your conversations. Dig deep. Buyers can drive you broke that aren't qualified. You'll be running around. You'll be working all day, and then you'll come home at 6 o'clock and you'll say, shit, that was a busy day. Trust me, something unimportant done well does not make that thing important. Don't ever forget that. There's no such thing as time management. There's choice management. You choosing to do certain things over certain things. So I've got to say to you, you're gonna have to get really good at buyer qualification. And every time, someone rings you up, this is what that conversation should sound like. Hi, Tom, I'm just want to see 57 Forbes Street. Great, no problems. Yeah, let's organise it. Before I go on, I just want to ask you, who am I speaking with? Great, fantastic. Excellent. Can I ask you, how long have you been looking? Great, fantastic, excellent. And when in buying a home, what are the 3 non-negotiables? Great, get into a conversation. I'm trying to work out, sir, if there's anything else I can show you at the same time. Oh, and by the way, have you sold from where you've come from yet? Oh, not yet? Oh, great, not yet, great. Like a potential listing lead there, right? Just dig deeper with your questions, right? Right? Whether it's phone calls, whether it's your open homes. Open homes. Come up, stand up, Darren. Let's do it. You're a buyer. You're coming through an open for inspection. Let's just go through on a typical Saturday. If you dig a little bit deep, you'll get so much information. Hi, how you going? Good. Thanks for coming over. Great. Can I just get your name again?
Yeah, Darren.
Darren, great. Darren, what's your mobile?
021 635 583.
Beautiful. Darren, can I ask you, what brings you here today?
I just saw the ad and it sort of sparked a bit of interest, a bit of joy.
Fantastic. And may I ask you, will this be your first or second purchase in this area?
Well, we own a property in the area, so yeah, I like the area. Yeah.
Great question. Is this your first or second purchase in this area? Oh, we own a property here already, straight away. Oh, okay. Shit, we got a potential vendor. This might be a buyer-seller. This might be someone that's buying that's also going to be a seller. So I'm asking these questions. But you know what the typical real estate agent does at an open home? Like, mate, thanks. Great. Have a look through. That's what they do. Let me give you a couple more, Darren, while you're standing up. Start again. Hi, how you going?
Good, thank you.
Darren, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Fantastic. Now, Darren, I want to ask you, are you buying or browsing today?
We're just doing a little bit of doing a bit of research, yeah.
Great. We've had a lot of people that are locals today doing a bit of research. Are you in the same category? Are you local?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Fantastic. And have you sold from where you've come from yet?
No, just that's why we do a bit of research, yeah.
Wow. And have you sold from where you've come from yet? Buying or browsing? All these are questions. Thank you so much, Darren. So team, I'm going to let you know, just dig a little bit deeper in every conversation. I've got to say to you, even when people are calling, oh, I'm ringing about 47 Smith Street. I'm just having a look at it. Great, can I ask you, are you looking to buy or are you comparing it to something you currently own? You like that one?
Yeah.
You use it?
We have had it with others that have come and done research, so yeah.
Beautiful.
Then
Okay. Let's keep going. So I want to run through so we're on track. The first mistake people are doing, they're not using flexible pricing. The second mistake is they're adjusting the price too late. The third mistake, they're listing the wrong kind of property. The fourth mistake, they're not getting enough feedback from people. The fifth mistake, they're not qualifying and not doing enough private inspections. Don't just do opens. The sixth mistake is they've got to carry more listings in this market. I'll tell you why. The list to sell ratio has changed. So last year, if I wanted to sell 100 properties, I would list 100 properties. Everything sold. This year, if I want to sell 100 properties, maybe my list to sell ratio is, would you say 50%? Okay. Just for mathematics, if I want to make 100 sales and my list to sell ratio is 50%, how many listings do I need to get for the year? 200. 200 times 50% equals 100. Here's why I like auctions. The list to sell ratio hasn't changed that much with auctions. They don't sell on the hammer as much, but they sell within a week or two after. That's why auction, auction, auction. The list to sell ratio has not changed much with auctions. They just sell after more than before and on the day. So push them towards auctions. Number 7, not using a deadline in the sale process. Darren, the team here, what do they use? Is it an auction type business?
Yes.
Do you push auctions?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. auctions. Some people have other things, they, set date, call it whatever that's got a deadline. We need a deadline. Number 8, the 8th thing is people are not using enough listing generation methods. The best real estate agents I know are using a minimum of 5 listing lead generation methods. 5, not 1 or 2. Not 1 or 2. They're using 5. I love to, within your groups, go for it, 2 minutes. What are your top 3 methods of getting leads to go to listings? Go for it. Have a chat amongst yourselves. Okay. What do you have?
Social media, door knocks,
Social media.
Your local presence.
door knocks,
Door knocking. Your local presence. Signboards.
open homes,
Open homes.
Database management.
Yep.
Database management.
Talking to your broker.
Talking to brokers or accountants or lawyers or anyone that can influence. Anything else?
asking the question every
Asking everyone. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, every person you meet is that next big prospect. Every person you meet. Every person you meet. Stock standard, I do this all the time. People know that I'm a real estate guy, whether it's agents or whether it's consumers. I could be walking through the airport, I'd be walking through a shopping centre. This is what people say all the time. Hey Tommy, how you going? Not bad, yeah. Hey mate, how's the market at the moment? It's 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, I'll be getting a coffee at a cafe. How's the market at the moment? At 12 o'clock. What are people saying about the market? Mate, it's like Groundhog Day. You get asked the same question. Hands up if you're asked by people, family, friends, locals, how's the market? All the time. Here's your response to how's the market. This is how you turn every person into an opportunity. Tom, how's the market at the moment? I've got to tell you, it's really weird. Oh, what do you mean? Oh, it's just different for different people at the moment. Like, can I ask you, when you're talking about how's the market, are you talking more like thinking of selling, thinking of buying, investing, or like renting something out and shut up? Then let them speak. You want to answer the question in their world, right? In their world. If they turned around and said, oh, I'm just curious about, selling. I can tell you, if we had more properties, we'd sell more. Can't deny that. So I've got to tell you, everyone you meet is that next big opportunity. Everyone you meet. There's a couple that you didn't mention, which I should touch on. Expired listings. They're a big opportunity in this month. What's that?
I did say that.
You did say that, sorry. Expired listings. That's another one. Let me give you a couple of others. Dear neighbour letters. What's your first name? Chigwin, I saw your house. You're happy. You write me a letter. That letter says, dear neighbour, I've just sold my home with Tom. He got me an incredible figure. He sold it in 3 weeks. Even though the market's not good, he still got my property sold. You get that letter, and that letter is done as a drop in the whole street. It's called the Dear Neighbour, signed by the vendor. I guarantee you, you'll be getting appraisals. All right? You will be getting appraisals. Dear Neighbour letter works, team. Couple of other things. You got an auction. You know it's going to sell. What do? On the Friday, you send all your database. On Facebook, on this link, you can watch this auction live. They see it with their own eyes that it goes off. You're swinging them more towards you. That's another method, right? In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring up on my computer, I interviewed 20 agents that do more than 100 sales each a year. And they gave me the main methods of them getting listings. Let me run through them. CMA nurturing their database. These are people that are doing 100 sales a year. CMA nurturing, ringing up your database, just listed calls, just sold calls. What's that?
I was writing it down.
She's writing it down. Just listed calls, just sold calls. Okay. Let me give you some other CMA. This is a really good CMA nurturing call. Ring up your database. Hi, can I speak to Ricky? Ricky, it's Tom Panos here from LJ Hooker. Ricky, I know you're not selling right now. I'm going to be really brief. The reason I'm calling you is because we've noticed that a lot of our vendors that have done appraisals on their home in the last 2 years are choosing now to see if there's a buyer that's prepared to pay a good price, because the way things are going is each month and every time the rates go up, prices are dropping. How open-minded would you be for me to pop around, re-look at your home now, and then see which buyer I've got that would buy it? And I've got to tell you why. Because if we don't do it now, every time there's a rate rise, buyers are being re-rated. So that's a good call to be calling to your database, right? Another call to your database. Hi, it's Tom here. Happy birthday, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor. It's 4 years since you bought your home. And I want to let you know, I want to apologise. I should have been in touch earlier, but for some reason, you have slipped through our crack system here. We should have been giving you a health update on your asset every year. That's what happens at our office. But for some reason, it wasn't flagged on our system. Now, I'm going to be in your area this week on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It takes 10 minutes, and I'm going to be able to give you a health update on your asset. What day's better, Tuesday or Wednesday? You get back in the door to past clients.
Yeah.
Okay? Own the letterbox, team. Stop listening to people that say, oh, it doesn't work anymore. It works in combination, not in isolation. The next one, break bread with your mortgage broker. Break bread with your lawyer. Break bread with people that have got influence in your community. Break bread with people that can refer stuff with you. The next one is direct mail. These are letters that you write direct to people. The next one is success marketing. Nothing beats that. When you sold the property, the just sold and the big buzz helps you get more appraisals. The next one, client for life program. A lot of people don't know. When I got into real estate and I was 21 years of age, I got to tell you, I prospected for 2 years, but not after that. Because I had a strategy which was called the client for life strategy. What's your first name? Morgan. Morgan bought a house. This is what I used to do. Morgan, congratulations, mate. You've got half an hour. Take your time. This is the final inspection before settlement. Take your time, have a look through. I'd give him time. At the end of the 30 minutes, I go up. Morgan, tomorrow morning, come and pick up the key. And I want to let you know, you're a buyer at the moment. As of tomorrow, you become a client VIP for us. Every year, we have to give you a report on the health of your asset. I'm going to book in a time now. It takes 15 minutes each year. I'm booking it in now. Let's get your phone out. I would diarise a 15-minute health update on his asset, which is another word for a CMA. You sell 50 properties, guess what? Next year you got 50 appraisals. Second year, you sell another 50 properties, you got 50 appraisals booked in, plus another 50, that's 100 appraisals. By the 5th year, your diary on the 1st of January has got appraisals booked left, right and centre in your diary. Even if 25% cancelled, you still are flooded with pop-in visits. And it was during these pop-in visits that you pick up all this business. Tom, I was going to tell you, the guy down the road, he's talking about putting his home on the market. Tom, I want to let you know my brother-in-law is thinking of buying. Tom, my brother-in-law is breaking up with his missus, right? Imagine if you're popping into a lot of houses, you're seeing people. Trust me, use this strategy. It's called the Client for Life strategy.
Go to see the private sale,
Say that again.
private sale open house.
Private for sale.
Private sale.
That's another source of listings.
Yes.
There's only one issue. Normally in Australia and New Zealand, there's only a small proportion. There's not a large amount of those, but they're still very good to go. They're still good to go.
I have received the first listing.
Private sale.
Yes.
I've got to tell you, one thing I'll tell you about private sales, they're wild, those guys. They're wild. They're sort of agent haters, right? And I remember I used to ring them up. Like I used to, back when I was, 1989, I'd ring them up and it would say no agents. The ads used to say no agents. So I used to ring them up. Hey, it's Tom here. I saw your ad. It says no agent. Are you looking for one? And a lot of the times they would just break out and laugh. Sometimes they'd say, are you an idiot, mate? I'll say, yeah, I am, but I've got to tell you one thing. You know your ad? I'll write up an ad that's 20 times better than that and I'll send it to you. So I used to write up a really good ad. And then you know what I used to do? I'd ring them up. Hey, listen, I've been working with this buyer. I've shown them everything I've got. They're not happy. I've sent them over to you. I've given them your details. Their name's David, all the best with them. I just used to do little jabs, right? I wanted them to hate me the least. They hate everyone, but I wanted them to hate me the least. And you know what used to happen? Eventually, they would get sick and tired of not being able to sell their house, and you're on the shopping list, right? So they are a grind. Not a lot of people call them. You did, and you got a listing. The next one is referrals. Strategic door knocking. Great method. I've got a client called Ben Collier from the agency. Believe it or not, this guy has to be, I would say, the highest GCI rider, Ben Collier. $11 million in GCI. Listen to what Ben does. He's driving along. He's got a buyer in the car. Stops the car. Goes and knocks on the door. Says, hey, I'm really sorry to do this. This is really awkward. I've been driving around showing a buyer through. They've got $7 million to spend. They're out there. Look, well, you can wave to them. There, sitting in the car. I asked them, what sort of a home are you looking for? They said, we'd like something like that. I'm just curious. At what price would you be a seller? That was it. He says they get talking, get into a conversation, right? Strategic door knocking. Networking. Any of you right here, right now that are really struggling, the best thing I could say to you is go find another agent in your office that's getting results and offer your help for free. Go to their opens. I'll help you. I'll help you at your opens. Take the weekend off, I'll do your opens. At least get in the game. Start seeing some people, right? It's a really good strategy. Rent roll leads. Orphan data. You know, your real estate offices have been sometimes around for 10 years, 15 years. Salespeople have left. There are people in there that bought homes that no one's been talking to. Orphan data. I simply have a premise. And that is that I think that fundamentally the reason I have a job in real estate training, the reason I have a job in real estate education is because people fundamentally suck at prospecting. If they didn't suck at prospecting, I wouldn't have work. The reason I make a living is because people don't do what they already know that they should do. And that's interesting. Why is it that people don't do something that's good for them? Have a chat amongst yourselves for 30 seconds. Why do people fundamentally suck at actually reaching out more often? What's the reason? Go for it. Go, 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 go. Alrighty. What do you have?
Fear.
Fear. Fear of rejection. Fear of rejection. Lack of confidence.
Oh, it doesn't work, Tom.
It doesn't work, Tom. It doesn't work here, mate. You got to understand, New Zealand people don't like people calling them.
The weather.
COVID.
Weather.
Oh, the weather. It's a bad day today. I'll be bad day. What else?
I'm motivated.
Hungover. Motivation. Comfort zones. Oh, it feels safer being here.
I think lack of accountability.
Lack of accountability. No one cares. If I don't prospect, I can sit here. I can sit in my office all day from 9 till 5 watching TikTok videos, go home and no one cares. It's true, you can't get into trouble. Like if you work at a cafe and you're a barista, right? You're a barista, right? Fucking, there's people queuing up. Oh mate, I'll have a soy flat white please. Oh, man, I'm fucking on TikTok, wait. Scroll. Let's go Instagram, see what's going on there, right? But in real estate, man, no one cares. You can come in, do whatever you want. No one cares. And then you go home and say, hey everyone, I'm back from work. I gotta tell you, you know it's funny, it's true, isn't it? Like you know, because guess what? There are no consequences today, but there is consequences. Yes, yes. Tomorrow the sheriff said collecting your house. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, time. People want immediacy. People want to go do some sit-ups. It's funny, you see people at the gym, they go do 20 sit-ups and then they quietly go to the mirror, look at and lift up their shirt. It doesn't work after 20, mate. Right? Relax. What else? So it's all those things. But I'm going to share with you fundamentally. Prospecting does suck. I actually think it does suck. I mean, you're interrupting strangers who often don't want to talk to you. But I'm going to ask you to change your approach. I'm going to ask you to stop looking at people as prospects and start looking at people as students. It changes the game. When you start looking at people as students, what you're doing is you're educating them. You're giving them information. You've got to stop being a real estate salesperson and you've got to start being a CNN reporter for your marketplace. Trust me. When you start having an approach, I educate my market. I'm teaching my vendors about what's sold, what's being listed, what the market's doing. You change your whole approach and you don't feel like you're interrupting people because you're adding value. You've got to move away from a commodity and you've got to start being a value-added provider. Show more, do more, give more. I'm going to share a story with you because there are a number of you here that I can tell are of Indian origin. The client's name is Amit Nayak, follow him. McGrath, Parramatta. He was a chef at an Indian restaurant. came to Australia about 8 years ago, and Amit Nayak's father got a very bad liver disease. He had to have an operation. He's in India. Many of you here of Indian origin know health in India predominantly has got a lot to do with money. If you've got money, you get better service. Amit needed to make money. Someone at the restaurant that he worked at said to him, real estate people make a lot of money. He went and did his certificate, got into real estate. Amit Nayak last year wrote $3 million in gross commission income. He sold 206 properties. He's a fanatical prospector. I said to him, do you like prospecting? He goes, I don't, but prospecting is the price I pay to give my father good health. Prospecting is the price I pay to send my kids to a private school. Prospecting is the price to pay to give my wife a 5-bedroom home in a good street with an in-ground pool for our family. I want you to understand, when the goal, when the vision, when the result, when the outcome, when the purpose is bigger than the discomfort, you'll do it. On the other hand, I've got another guy. Mate, he looks like a model. Fit, dressed immaculately. Educated. Everything's right. Went to the best private school. Brought up in a very wealthy family. He's a trust fund kid. $300,000 a year comes as income in money that his parents have invested. This guy here, he doesn't prospect. You want to know why? Because he's a bit like the circus clown operator. You know the circus, go to a circus and you see all these people doing acrobatics up there. And then you look down and you see a safety net. If they fall, there's a safety net. Why is he going to go knock on a door? Why is he going to get rejected? Because he knows he's got $6,000 a week being he's there. So all I've got to say to you is you've got to find reasons and purposes why you're doing what you're doing. And I want to let you know, as your life goes on, those purposes will change. In the first half of your life, the morning of your life, let's call it the morning of your life, it's all about chasing. It's all about building assets. It's all about getting financially secure. It's all about getting that hot car. It's also about looking good. But in the second half of your life, when you've got all that stuff and you realize, I'm not going to run out of money, but then you begin to realize, I'm going to run out of time, your purpose changes. You start thinking legacy. What's the point of everything that I've done? You start thinking to yourself, family. You start thinking to yourself, grandkids. You start thinking to yourself, how will I be remembered? So the purpose does change. But I've got to say to you, it's really, really hard to succeed in our business unless you get super clarity on why you're doing what you're doing. I've got to tell you, real estate's hard. You've got a gun pointing at the back of your head on the first day of every month saying, list or you won't eat. That's not a normal behavior to be working every day. You've got this emotional roller coaster ride. But I've got to tell you, when it's clear why you're doing it, you'll end up suffering more than the next person. Most people in real estate don't see when someone that's writing big money, what they see is them getting an award. What they see them is driving a Maserati. What they see this person is having a nice life. What they don't see is this: insomnia, stress, anxiety, risk. I'm telling you, that is real estate. And there comes a time when you wake up one day and you realize, shit, I'm an attraction agent. They're coming to me now. They're calling me. They're chasing me. They're prospecting me. I'm not prospecting them. Probably take 5 years, thereabouts. Some people do it less. Some people do it a little bit longer. It'll help a lot if you get a lot of vendor paid advertising. But I've got to say to you, I mean it sincerely, unless you find out clear reasons on why what you're doing, you're going to find that the other side of your head's going to hold you back. And I'll tell you what holds you back. Things like this, self-limiting beliefs. This is what people think. I'm not good enough. My office is not good. It's too hard. Sometimes the problem is you've just got a lot of dickheads around you in your life. Sometimes that's the problem. I said, yeah, mate, I said to a guy yesterday, he goes to me, I'm going to go see a doctor. I think I'm suffering depression. I said, maybe you should do that. But before you do that, just make sure that you're not surrounded by assholes. Because that might be the cause of you there. Because if you've got everyone, right? If you've got everyone that's negative, everyone that's taking things away from your soul, then sometimes the problem is lack of energy. Sometimes the problem is that you're just not sleeping well enough and you're tired or you're hungover. Or sometimes is you just haven't exercised for 3 years. Sometimes the problem is that you're eating bad. Listen, I know we're here in real estate, but I've got to say to you, if you don't find time for exercise, you'll find time for chemo. I did. I can't believe it. How was it possible? I used to say to myself, up to 2006, man, I'm just under the pump. I haven't got time. But how was it possible that as soon as I got diagnosed in 06, stage 4 lymphatic cancer, I was able to allocate 9 full months of chemotherapy and radiation? Where did the time come from? So time management's bullshit. It's your values. The key is not to prioritize our schedule, but to schedule our priorities. Beautiful. I didn't even see these up there. It's not in your moments of it's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. 100%. It's in the moments. Because if you think about that, with better decisions, you'll take better actions. And with better actions, you'll get better results. Man, you know how many times I've been in situations where I've been sitting there, I'm just thinking where you've made a choice that's been the better, mate. Last Thursday night, we're out, we're having dinner, group of us, finished dinner. Guys, just want to go out. I looked at them and said, out? We are out now. No, like really out. Like, what's that look like? I said. Like, go out partying, have a quick bump and go out. I said, what do you mean bump? What do you mean bump? Just have a quick line, let's go out. No, bad decision. Some went. That was the decision they made. Some chose the decision to actually finish the night at 9:30, go to sleep, wake up at 5, go for a run, and have a great next day. So every moment you have a choice to make a decision that's going to help your life or it's going to harm your life. Team, make passion your paycheck. I can't stress the importance of it. And don't underestimate the power of being a nice person. Now, Darren said something to me before, which I thought, I've got to mention it. Why is it that people often will give vendor management incredible attention on an auction, but they won't do it on a private treaty? Like, why should your private treaty vendors get shit service or worse service? So I think the law there is that you should do, is that what you were referring to? Man, just put them through the process.
Yeah.
And if you worry about the process, the proceeds will come, team, mate. I've got to tell you, if you worry about the process will come. Before we finish off here, I think it's important that I give you 6 or 7 prospecting nuggets that will help you. Nugget number 1 is accept that there is this thing called a 30-day rule. It's a very important rule. What it says is what I do in this 30 days affects the next 90 days. People that are good at prospecting accept this premise and they understand and they don't expect to get results in that 30 days. Very important rule. They learn that there's a lag between effort and rewards. The second rule in prospecting, what gets scheduled gets done. Bang. The key is to not prioritize our schedule, but to schedule our priorities. Your diary, I've got to tell you, if there's a young person in here that's wanted an irrefutable blueprint to success, I'll read it out to you right now. If there's someone here that wants in 2 minutes what they've got to do to be successful, I'll give it to you right now. I'm going to just give you a very, very quick 10-point checklist for success. Number 1, have a standard wake-up time every morning. Standard wake-up time. Same time. Make it habitual. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Standard wake-up time every morning. And if I were you, I'd make it sooner rather than later. For me, my standard wake-up time is 5 a.m. 5 a.m. is a standard. If you win the first hour, you win the day. The second thing, have a morning ritual. Have a success ritual that gets you going. For some people, it's exercise. For other people, it's just the routine with their family, get the kids ready. For other people, it might be just going for a walk. Number 3, have a start time at work. Have a start time at work. This bullshit, fucking COVID's finished, man. And don't get me wrong, I've had COVID 3 times and I struggled with it. I got Delta the second time. I ended up in hospital for a week, because of all the chemo I've had over the last 16 years. But my antibodies were down because of a drug called rituximab. Well, sorry, it wasn't rituximab, it was Obnuzitav that had made me very susceptible to it. So it's not like I don't believe in COVID. I believe in it. I was very sick with it, and I'm paranoid about it. But I've got to say to you, this thing about people now working from home, fucking bullshit, mate. Mate, get real. That's a pajama slope. You're serious about business? You started time by work. You're dressed up for work. Mate, I had a webinar yesterday with a guy. Said, mate, do me a favor. I said, turn that camera on. Turn the camera on. I said, turn the damn camera on right now. He turns the camera on and he's sitting there with a ripped t-shirt at 11:30 in the middle of the day with a little cat sitting on his lap. I said to him, mate, I said, get real. I said, you ain't going to be listing or selling real estate like that, brother. All right? So you got to have a start time. You got to have a start time at work, right? The next one that's very important is you need to understand you've got to block off 2 hours a day. You've got to block off 2 hours a day, right? 2 hours a day has got to be your prospecting time, chase time. If you don't like the word prospecting, call it outreach. Now, if I were you, I would schedule 3 45-minute call sessions in your diary a day. I would do 9 to 9:45, 10 to 10:45, 11 to 11:45. Give yourself a break for 15 minutes in between where you can go in, maybe send a proposal, maybe put something in your diary, maybe go get a cup of coffee, get a bit of fresh air. But by 12 o'clock, you are a winner. Look, if you had followed my schedule, you would have woken up at 5 o'clock, you would have done your exercise, you would have been in the early, got rid of all your paperwork, and then you would have started your prospecting. By 12 o'clock, you've already beat 95% of the industry. Those simple things. That's not hard to do, what I just said. Then go get yourself lunch. Go get yourself some lunch. Don't have a lot of carbs at lunchtime. Carbs at lunchtime, people, and this has been proven, you get very tired at the end there, right? You go eat a pizza at lunchtime, man, you're not going to be working in the afternoon. Then what you need to do is you need to do 20 minutes of aggressive role play training, scripts and dialogues per day. You've got to keep practicing. We sweat in training so that we don't bleed in battle. You've got to sharpen your skills, right? You've got to sharpen your skills. The next thing is you've got to check your current deals every day. What hasn't signed? What's a signed contract, right? What's settling today, right? You've got to check your deals. Right now in this market, you've got to stay to the deal till it's unconditional, because there's always an uncle that's going to scare the buyer away. The next thing that you should be doing is, if you've got a PA, you should be meeting with your PA. You should be meeting with your PA, and that should be at the start of the day. Social media, all I can say to you is you've got to be posting a minimum of 2 posts a day. The best social media content I'm seeing at the moment is people that hire a videographer for 1 day a month. They take 5 jackets with them, they pick 5 different locations, they shoot 30 days of content in 1 day. It'll cost you $1,500 to have 30 short reel videos, and they've got to be reels, because in this market that we're in now, social media is all about vertical video. TikTok has changed the game. It's forced Instagram to do reels. It's forced YouTube to do shorts. So now we need to do vertical videos. Very simple strategy. 5 sets of clothes, 5 different locations, shoot all the content, and guess what? Give administrator rights to the videographer that you've hired. Say, listen, I'll give you another $500. You post them each day yourself. I do that myself. That's what I do that myself. Those posts there. The only posts that are mine are the ones that I'm going live. So you need a combination of live and also pre-recorded stuff. So far, I'm giving you your day. We haven't finished. Let's keep going through your day, right? The next one is, you need to make sure that you're doing 3 appointments a day, a minimum. 3 appointments a day. And they've either got to be with a vendor, with a potential vendor, or a hot buyer. That is an appointment. And then the last thing is, make sure that you're eating well, sleeping well, and exercising well. That's your 10-point plan. You're set for real estate. Just do that. You do that. You're set. Irrefutable. You do that for 3 months' time, I've got to tell you, you'll have momentum and you'll be heading in the right trajectory. Team, I want to allow 5 or 10 minutes for questions, because that was in my brief. Was it a useful hour and a half we had today? 2 hours? Yeah?
Tom, how much is the real estate gym?
The real estate gym is 600
something. Yeah, 695.
680. So the real estate, I've got to tell you, I'm over the moon, because in the real estate gym now, we have 300 agents that do 100 sales a year. We have about 10 agents doing more than 5 million a year, and it costs basically, it's about $10 a week. Basically it's $10 a week. If you go to realestategym.com.au, if it's not open, because it's not open all the time, just go on a wait list and we'll notify. I think is it wait listed at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay, just go on the wait list. We can't, because we onboard people in one go. We can't just, we onboard people. We got prospecting blitzes every Tuesday morning. Every Tuesday morning, we're all in going prospecting blitzes. You've got all the scripts. Every script or dialogue that you'll ever need in real estate is in the real estate gym. You got a buyer. You're at any dial. You're at a property inspection with a buyer. You come out of the property. Hey, can I ask you? Are you interested in it, or would you like me to help you own this one? They give you an offer. Oh, 870. How did you arrive at that number? You're at a listing presentation. Oh, you're too expensive. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I can understand and appreciate that fee is very important. But I've got to ask you, what's more important to you? Are you looking for a house price maximizer, or are you looking for a commission minimizer? Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I've got to tell you straight, the best agent and the cheapest agent are generally not the same agent. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I've got to tell you, I've seen so many people in Auckland lose tens of thousands of dollars at the time of sale because they tried to save a few $1,000s at the time of listing. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I've got to say to you, what's more important to you? The risk of over-marketing by $5,000 or the risk of underselling by $100,000? I've got to tell you, every piece of dialogue on any bit of real estate is in the gym, and the reason is that you guys have got the great LJ Hooker and the Harvey's way. What I've got is I've ripped off and duplicated everyone's content, right? All the best of the best. Well, it's a bit like Google. I've just gone off and I've skimmed and I said, this is all there. And the reason I say it is, man, you know what I've noticed about agents? They all have their own different way of doing things. right? It's really weird. There's not one way. So it's all different. So that's the reason why. But I'm going to finish off, and I'm going to say to you, the last thing I'm going to say to you before Ricky takes me for a drive, because if there is there any questions, by the way?
Can we go with Ricky too?
What's that? You can come with Ricky. You can come with Ricky as well. So I want to finish off. I'm going to share with you, I'm 55 years of age. I know I look older. Grey hair, a lot of chemo, a lot of radiation. In fact, a lot of people get shocked when I've counted them. It's 313 chemo and radiation sessions in 16 years. A stage 4 diagnosis, a stage 3 diagnosis, and thankfully a stage 1 diagnosis. So 3 times I've been diagnosed with cancer. I'm blessed. I have a young brother who died, and I'm still devastated. I struggle with it. It was very close to me. It's my best friend, and it's 3 years now. And I met a lot of people through chemo. If you've been there 300 times, you meet a lot of people. Some survive, some don't. And I've got to say to you, for me, illness and suffering has been a gift that's been badly wrapped. The reason it's been badly wrapped is that when you come back to life a third time, you look at life with different eyes. You're a lot more smarter. You don't sweat the small stuff. A bit more compassionate. You also don't waste time because you realise that time's a non-renewable resource. It also helps you scan and get perspective. You lose a listing, you lose a sale, that doesn't hit my radar screen. I miss a flight, stiff shit, there's another flight. I don't stress anymore because I know what it feels like to actually see someone on their last day. I've seen it too many times. And I don't know how this story's going to end. I'm not stupid. I've had cancer 3 times on something that I was told was incurable in 2006. But I had my cancer test last Friday, which I do every quarter, and the doctor said to me, Tom, free again. No evidence of disease, so you go back out into the world until my next test, which has been delayed till mid-January because of the Christmas period. But there are times in life that you're going to get punched in the face. If it's not in illness, you're going to get betrayed by your partner. If it's not your partner that betrays you, you're going to be let down by a friend. If it's not that, you're just going to have a little bit of bad luck on something, a car accident. So my darkest day was in August 2018, where on the day before my brother died, I got re-diagnosed. And it was really hard because my brother wasn't married and I was his next of kin. And I'm sitting there and I still remember it. I still get goosebumps. It's still one of my saddest days. So the phone rings while I'm in palliative care, and it's my brother's last days. He died the day after. And the phone rings and I look at it, 9515611, which is my doctor. I said, hi. He said, Tom, Stephen. He said, straight away, I knew. Straight away, just the way, he said, it's Stephen. He said, I want to say something to you. You don't want to hear it, but you're going to have to know it. It's back. He said, are you in Sydney? I said, I am. He said, we start treatment tomorrow. I said, are you serious? I said, Stephen. I said, I'm at a palliative care unit. My young brother's dying. He just said, I'm sorry. Ring me when it's over. I was devastated. So what happens? You think to yourself, I've got to get through this. My mum and dad are in the room. I'm thinking to myself, bad decision to say something to them now about me. Shut up. What do you have to do, Tom? And I'll tell you something weird, you'll be shocked. When the shit goes down, you'll be shocked at how we're equipped as humans to handle it. It's weird. I think we're built in a way that you're never given a problem that you can't handle.
Yeah.
Right? I think, so never ever be scared. Don't ever have fear. Don't ever have fear because you can handle it. So I just thought to myself, what I've got to do here? Get smart, Tom. You've got to go, get the funeral booked. You got to get he's dying. Get the funeral booked. Stop listening to your mother that he's going to recover. He's finished. You can tell that. He's gone. Get the funeral booked. Get a priest booked. I go to the cemetery. I buy a plot of land. I'm thinking there. Come back. He dies the next day. We have the funeral. We have the wake. I'm sitting there in the front row. And for some reason, a podcast that I heard from Jordan Peterson comes to my mind. It says, be the person at the funeral. Be the person at your dad's funeral that consoles others. At a time of crisis, at a time when someone's leaving the planet and they're leaving so many people behind, be the person that is seen as the pivotal person that gives people some hope that this is life. So I sit there, thank you, thank you, thank you. We go, we have the wake. And wakes are interesting. You know, people come along, you haven't seen them for years. You get some moron that's complaining about the food. And then many of these people you won't ever see again. And it's really interesting. Within 5 weeks, everyone's forgotten that he's died. So I always say to people, don't ever get too worried about other people, because when you're gone, there will only be a handful of people who will still be crying. And then this interesting thing happens. Susan, that works with me, says, Tom, what are you going to do about the real estate gym event? There was an event in Auckland. That's why I'm sharing this story. I said, Susan, I'll do it. It's 2 days' time, and I'll come back, and then I'll start treatment. So I go to New Zealand, to the REINZ building, and I do this training session to real estate gym members. And I then hop on a plane, and I'm flying back, Qantas flight, 4 o'clock flight on a Friday afternoon, same flight I'm taking tomorrow. And I start crying on the plane because there's no one there that knows me. And I've just processed everything. I've just realised this sucks. My best mate's dead. I've got grieving parents. And to top it all off, I've now got to fight for my life for the 3rd time. I thought to myself, there's just nothing here. And I just start crying. And there's a lady, she's sitting on the other aisle. She's watching with her eye. The flight lands. I pick up my bag. She hands me a letter and walks away. I want to read it to you. She's a Kiwi. I know you feel broken, so I won't tell you to have a wonderful day. Instead, I'll whisper these words, just hold on. As the darkest days of grief start to get less, the sun will rise again for you. A random stranger who for a moment had the empathy to feel the pain of another person, doesn't know what the problem is, but knew there was something wrong. I've got to say, for the next 9 months, I'm in chemotherapy, and it was my worst of the lot. They gave me this drug, Omnuzatab, that's a drug that's caused me all the problems, and what it did, it's mustard gas. It just kills everything. So it's good, it kills cancer, it's poison. Poison kills poison, but it also kills all the good stuff, and when it kills the good stuff, you just get sick. And I had a nurse. I had a transgender nurse called Jenny. And she knew the story. And she would come up and she'd say, And it's really weird because you very often you don't know who the superhero in your life is going to be. Like I would never have thought, you know, a Filipino transgender nurse would end up becoming my superhero. She'd say, Tom, today's going to be hard. Tomorrow's going to be harder. But the day after, things will be better. Hold on. Hold on. Tom, your current situation is not the way it's going to be in the future. Even the worst of days get better, Tom. So she just kept encouraging and encouraging. And it's still the day I don't forget. I finish treatment, I get the all clear, and I leave. And Jetty comes up and she says, I hope I never see you back here again. God bless you. It's underrated. It's not talked about enough. Being nice. Outcare the competition. Trust me. Outcare the competition. It's very underrated. We go into people's houses to do a listing presentation. I've got to tell you, if you could just show them that you care more about them than the other 3 agents, you're in the game. Then you give them a bit of a business plan. This is how we're going to optimize your asset. They believe and trust you because they feel that energy with you. Team, team, team. I'm going to say to you, people, you want to win share of market, you got to win share of heart. Trust me, you got to win share of heart, right? If you win people's heart, man, I've got to tell you, everything's negotiable in life. I want to thank you so much for having me here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send, who should I send something to here for who's the contact person? So I've got a let's call it a checklist. A checklist for listing presentations, a checklist for buyer management, a checklist for vendor management, a checklist for listing presentations, because I'm a process-driven person. If you worry about the process will come. So you're going to receive 4 slides. Each one has got checks on every part of your business. I'm telling you, just follow those checklists and you'll be set, right? Thank you so much. Are you going to ask me about your private seller?
Tom, thanks for your sharing the personal thoughts. I am reading your brain and your encouragement to say all these things. Appreciate your values.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are training period is the different, which you are sharing with us from the personal thoughts and all the things are suffering and encouragement. That is more valuable for us, please. Thank you again.
You know, a guy said to me this morning, I was having a session this morning, he goes to me, you know what's happened? Because you've accepted you're going to die, you've opened up and you've got nothing to fear. And I just looked at him and I said, I've got bad news for you, brother. You're going to die too. Listen, Google it, no one has not died. And then for some reason, I just saw him put his hand on his stomach. All right, Ricky, can we go?
Yes.
Is that all right?
Thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it. I hope everyone enjoyed.
Yeah, let's do a photo.
Oh my God, let's have a photo with the group.
How we do this? Get everyone in the back.
Yeah.
Everyone stand up.
You need to one, Ricky, that way and tag me so I can put it on Instagram.
That way?
No, vertical.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.